Good morning. My name is Kristen Clark, Assistant Attorney General for the Civil Rights Division of the U.S. Department of Justice, and I am joined today by U.S. Attorney Kevin Ritz, who serves here in the Western District of Tennessee. Today, the U.S. Department of Justice is opening a civil rights investigation into the city of Memphis and the Memphis Police Department to determine whether there is a pattern or practice of conduct that violates the Constitution or our federal civil rights laws. Based on an extensive review of publicly available information, as well as information provided to us, there are grounds to open this investigation now. Our decision to open this investigation now is not based on a single incident or event, nor is it confined to a specific unit or type of unit within the Memphis Police Department. For example, we received multiple reports of officers escalating encounters with community members resulting in excessive force. There are also indications that officers may use force punitively when faced with behavior they perceive to be insolent. The information we reviewed also shows that officers may use force against people who are already restrained or in custody. At times, the use of force practices results in serious physical injuries. Other information indicates that the Memphis Police Department may be using an approach to street enforcement that can result in violations of federal law, including racially discriminatory stops of Black people for minor violations. Such encounters can be harmful, and they can also violate the law. Our review indicates that even in a majority Black city, MPD's traffic enforcement may focus disproportionately on the Black community. Black drivers receive a significant share of vehicle citations, such as for tinted windows or broken taillights. And the information also suggests that these disparities are not new here in Memphis. Police departments with inadequate training, supervision, and accountability systems struggle to prevent misconduct or address misconduct after it has occurred. We reviewed allegations of deficiencies in these systems within the Memphis Police Department. Today, we are not concluding that these allegations of excessive force, improper searches and stops, and racial disparities are sufficient to show a legal violation without further analysis, but they do warrant a full investigation. The investigation we announced today will focus on three main issues. First, whether the Memphis Police Department engages in a pattern or practice of making unlawful stops, searches, and arrests. Second, whether the Memphis Police Department engages in a pattern or practice of using excessive force. And third, whether the Memphis Police Department engages in racially discriminatory policing practices with respect to Black residents of this city. In January of this year, the nation witnessed the tragic death of Tyree Nichols at the hands of Memphis police. City and police department leaders recognized the need to scrutinize the police department's practices to prevent such incidents from ever happening again. They requested technical assistance from the Justice Department, and in March, the Office of Community-Oriented Policing Solutions, also known as COPS, opened a review of the police department's use of force and de-escalation policies, as well as its use of specialized units. The COPS office will continue that work with the Memphis Police Department to assist the department in making changes and improvements as our pattern and practice investigation gets underway. But this pattern or practice investigation has a different purpose than the COPS review. This federal civil rights investigation will examine whether the police department has violated the Constitution or federal civil rights laws in a systemic way. The Department of Justice's Civil Rights Division and the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Western District of Tennessee will conduct this investigation jointly. I'll note that this is a civil investigation entirely separate from any federal criminal investigation involving MPD officers. We have just briefed Mayor Strickland, Police Chief Davis, and Chief Legal Officer Michael Fletcher about this investigation, and we are pleased that they have pledged their cooperation. Our investigation will be thorough and objective. We will follow the facts and the law wherever they lead. We hope that community members throughout Memphis will trust us to share their stories, their experiences, and views about public safety in this city. We'll also meet with MPD officers and commanders, and we'll participate in ride-alongs to hear directly from officers about the challenges that they face. If there is reasonable cause to believe that there is a pattern or practice of constitutional or statutory violations, we will issue a public report of our conclusions. We will then aim to work cooperatively with the city and the police department to reach an agreement on remedies. If an agreement can't be reached, the Justice Department is authorized to bring a civil lawsuit seeking injunctive relief to address these violations. As we begin this investigation, we recognize the challenges that Memphis and its police department are facing, including one of the country's highest rates of violent crime. When crime is high, there is an understandable urgency to respond. Often the pressure to combat crime falls almost exclusively on the police, but the Justice Department recognizes that promoting public safety and preventing violent crime requires the collaboration of a broad array of community and agency partners. This new investigation will seek to identify ways to foster such collaboration and seek to build on one of the Justice Department's highest priorities, ensuring that cities and police departments protect communities' civil rights and keep people safe. These priorities are reflected in the department's track record of pattern or practice investigations across the country. In June, we announced our findings that the Minneapolis Police Department had engaged in a pattern or practice of conduct that violates the Constitution and federal laws. We concluded that the department used excessive force, both deadly and less lethal. We also found that the department unlawfully discriminated against Black people and Native American people in its enforcement activities. We found that it retaliated against protesters and journalists in violation of their First Amendment rights, and that it discriminated against people with behavioral health disabilities when responding to calls for assistance. We announced similar findings in March for Louisville. In addition, we have ongoing pattern or practice investigations in Phoenix, Louisiana, and other jurisdictions across the country. We look forward to working together with the city and police department towards the shared goals of ensuring constitutional and non-discriminatory policing and promoting greater cooperation between law enforcement officers and the community members that they serve. I'll now turn the floor over to U.S. Attorney Ritz.
Good morning. I want to thank Assistant Attorney General Clark for coming here to Memphis to continue what I believe is a crucial community-wide conversation about civil rights in our city. This morning, Assistant Attorney General Clark and I met with the mayor, the chief of police, and other city officials to discuss what this pattern or practice investigation would entail. I want to say that our office will be a partner with the Civil Rights Division in this investigation. As we proceed, we are committed to having a conversation with people across the entire city to answer questions and let the community know what they can expect. That conversation will include residents, community groups, police officers, city officials, and faith and civil rights leaders. Here's the thing. Public safety requires public trust in law enforcement. The police officers who risk their lives every day in the line of duty need the public to trust them. Community trust makes policing more effective and less dangerous for both officers and the people they protect. To build and maintain that trust, police officers must conduct themselves constitutionally and lawfully. Citizens, including the people of this great city, deserve constitutional and lawful policing. In my 18 years as a federal prosecutor here in Memphis, I've had the opportunity to work with public servants and community leaders who are dedicated to addressing the root causes of crime in our city, people who understand that as government, our first responsibility is to protect our citizens. That means to protect them from crime, and it means to protect their civil rights. I want to be clear, while the pattern or practice investigation is underway, you can still expect our team of federal prosecutors to continue to take on tough cases, whether that involves violent crime, drug trafficking, fraud, national security, hate crimes, or holding people in authority accountable. That work will continue, and we will continue to partner with law enforcement agencies at the federal, state, and local level to vigorously enforce the criminal laws. That's a core piece of the department's mission. It's also a core piece of the department's mission to ensure that the constitutional and federal statutory rights of all people are protected. Pattern or practice investigations help us fulfill that responsibility. This civil pattern or practice investigation, as Assistant Attorney General Clark said, is and will remain separate from our office's criminal investigations and prosecutions. It is also separate from the technical assistance being provided by the department's Office of Community-Oriented Policing Services, or COPS Office. Associate Attorney General Vanita Gupta announced in March that the COPS Office, through its Collaborative Reform Initiative Technical Assistance Center, would be providing technical assistance related to MPD's use of force and de-escalation practices, as well as its use of specialized units. That work will continue in the immediate term while the separate pattern or practice investigation is ongoing. As I've said often, in the U.S. Attorney's Office and the Department of Justice, my colleagues and I uphold the rule of law, protect civil rights, and keep Americans safe. And that work is predicated on a fundamental principle that there is only one rule of law. There cannot be one rule of law for the powerful and another for the powerless. There cannot be one rule of law for the rich and another for the poor. And there cannot be one rule of law for people who look like me and another for people of color. As much as I believe most of our partners in law enforcement work diligently and bravely under that same guiding principle, we as a community cannot afford to be silent if there are those who are not upholding that standard. And so I welcome this opportunity to let the facts lead in what I know will be an ongoing and important discussion about civil rights in our city. Together, we can build a stronger Memphis, a Memphis that protects the safety and civil rights of all.
We have time for some questions. WREG?
Ma'am, you mentioned that there have been multiple reports of officers escalating encounters with community members. Are you able to give us a specific number of reports that you received into your office?
Not at this stage. What we are announcing today is the opening of a formal investigation. We will share with the public our findings at the end of that investigation.
Was the Memphis Police Department on the DOJ's radar before Tyree Nichols? Activists have been calling for years for a pattern of practice investigation stemming from the Darius Stewart shooting and stemming from police surveillance of police. How long has the DOJ been looking at that?
We are aware of some of the prior complaints and calls that have been made, but today we are announcing that we have a basis for opening this investigation now based on our fulsome review of publicly available information and information that has been made available to us. Today is the moment at which we are opening this investigation.
Is that your only question? You were messing on my list. Okay.
I had one more. How long do you anticipate this investigation will take?
It's hard to put a timeline on this, but this work, ensuring constitutional, fair, and non-discriminatory policing, is one of our highest priorities in the Civil Rights Division of the Justice Department. We will work expeditiously and do hope that we have findings to share with the public very soon.
David Menfield?
Ben, you want to go?
No, go ahead.
Can we talk about just the connection with the cops investigation too, and what that's gonna look like from that end and versus this being completed at the same time?
So our COPS technical assistance work will continue. That work is being conducted through a separate office at the Justice Department. The goal is to provide guidance and best practices for the police department. So that work will continue on a parallel track.
WMC?
It's Marty Hager here. What do you want to tell Memphians to do in the case of emergency right now? Because with all you mentioned today, it could strike more fear in them. What do you suggest that they do in the case of emergency?
As we tell anybody experiencing an emergency, they should call 911 and report that emergency. I will say with respect to our pattern and practice investigation, hearing from the public will be important at every stage. We will be convening open public meetings to ensure that the people of Memphis have a voice throughout this process.
WATN?
What is your message to the public who have been demanding change?
Every American deserves fair, constitutional, non-discriminatory policing. Every American. That includes here in Memphis and in every corner of our country. This work is one of our highest priorities at the Justice Department, and we look forward to working with the community as we carry out this investigation.
Commercial appeal?
Hi. So you said that you already spoke with Mayor Strickland and Chief Davis earlier today, and they said that they were both going to cooperate with this investigation. But you also said that specifically officers are going to be talked to. Do you expect them to cooperate with the investigation as well, or are you expecting any pushback or potential complete 180 shifts in behavior when you guys are riding along with them?
We have a track record, as we have done this work across the country, of working cooperatively with officials, with rank and file officers, and we certainly expect the same here in Memphis.
Hold on, let me get Fox 13. Next question. How can you gain the community's trust by conducting the pattern of practice investigation?
Trust is key. Trust is key for carrying out effective law enforcement. Trust is key for the work that we do at the Justice Department. Meeting with the community will be a core part of how we carry out our pattern or practice investigation. We are making a toll-free line available to ensure that the public can reach us and share information at every stage. We will be convening public meetings here in Memphis throughout the course of our investigation. We need and want to hear from the public as we carry forward our investigation.
AP had a follow-up.
Have you spoken, first, have you received like a flood of complaints from citizens who have been subjected perhaps to some of these patterns or practices? And have you spoken with, directly with people who have been subjected to some of these patterns or practices?
Well, we reviewed publicly available information that speaks to how Memphis Police Department carries out its work. We reviewed information made available to us and have determined that there is grounds to investigate the 3 areas that I have identified. The department's use of excessive force, its use of stop searches and arrest, and we're also looking at whether or not the police department engages in discriminatory policing with respect to Black people.
So you said that this would not be limited in scope to any specific unit. Obviously, the Scorpion unit has gotten a lot of attention in the wake of Tyree Nichols' death. Are there any units that you want to put a specific focus on? Any sort of practices that those units might undertake that you're going to be looking into specifically?
This investigation will focus on Memphis Police Department as a whole. There are investigations in the past where we have focused on particular units or teams. That is not the case here. We'll be looking fully at the Memphis Police Department.
One question, Fox 13.
Community members are afraid to reach out to MPD whenever they're in trouble or afraid. So how will this pattern of practice investigation try to change their perspective whenever they need help?
I would just reiterate that, as Assistant Attorney General Clark said, public safety requires public trust in law enforcement. This investigation is in service of building trust. And we hope to achieve a place where the citizens do trust law enforcement, and that's part of what is being accomplished with this investigation in our view.
Thank you.